Hello everyone, and thank you very much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and this is another episode in the Proxmox home server series. This video is going to be quite lengthy because I'm going to show you from scratch how to set up Nextcloud, how to link ZFS Pool to that Nextcloud instant, and how to link Cloudflare Tunnel to the Nextcloud instant. In other words, you will be able to access Nextcloud from anywhere in the world using your own domain plus subdomain. So let's begin. What you see in front of you is my fresh Proxmox install. I have nothing inside it, no ISO files, no container templates. One thing I actually have just set up just before recording, I attached two hard drives, 36 gigabyte in size. They're for some reason showing 34.3, but anyway, these two will be used for ZFS ZFS Pool, where the data can be stored from Nextcloud. So let's start by getting ourselves a template. So under CT templates, I'm going to click on this and I will search for Nextcloud. Here we go, turnkey Nextcloud. At the time of recording this video is 17.2-1. I'm going to click download. And while this is downloading, I can close that and go in templates and go for Debian. You can choose Ubuntu or you can choose Debian. I'm going to choose Debian 11 Bullseye and click download. Debian 11 will be used for Cloudflare, and obviously Nextcloud will be used for Nextcloud. I can run Cloudflare within Nextcloud container, but I like to have all the services kind of split up on my main Proxmox. That's how I do on my main Proxmox. Yes, you can have one container running all the services inside, but me, I like to mess around with stuff. So if one of the services I want to delete or I need to restart for some reason, a bunch of other services will still be active because I have all the services split into separate containers. So while the Nextcloud is getting downloaded, we'll go and start creating ZFS pool. So I'm going to click on ZFS and click ZFS, create ZFS. If you can see drives here, I suggest to go back into your Proxmox node, click on disks, and then select the drive. Make sure you select the right drive and just press wipe the disk. I'm gonna press wipe, and this is just gonna go and delete everything on that drive just to make sure that it's definitely clean. So when that is done, I can go back into ZFS, and by the now you should be able to see both drives. I'm gonna select both drives. I'm gonna call this tank. I will untick the add storage because I don't want this ZFS pool to be used for ISO files, for disk images, for Proxmox. This is going to be my Nextcloud stuff. Next, I need to change RAID level to mirror, compression LZ4, and everything is here. So let's click create. So ZFS pool is getting created. So let's wait for that to be finished. So here we are. I have my ZFS pool created. Everything is online. Everything is happy. Great. Now let's check if my container is downloaded. Okay, now inside the Proxmox node, I click on a shell. Inside here, if you type ZFS list, it will give you a list of all the mount points. Or if you put Z pool list, here we go. This is my one ZFS pool, and right now let's create the datasets. ZFS list again. So as you can see, it's /tank. So right now we need to write ZFS create tank / Nextcloud. I'm going to call it Nextcloud. You can call it whatever you want. Mine's going to be Nextcloud. And now if I'm going to do ZFS list, you can see there is a tank and tank / Nextcloud. When you run ZFS list, the /tank or /whatever always going to be your master pool name, and /whatever it starts your datasets. So right now I have a dataset by the name of Nextcloud, and let's say for this instant I will have admin is going to be in the admin, and it's going to be user Mr. P, for example. So I have two options right now how I can allow these users to store the data. I can go inside this location, which is mount point location, which is that. So I can go into /tank / Nextcloud like that, and I can create a directory here for Mr. P. And I can create a directory for admin, for example. But in this video, I'm just going to go and create another dataset within a dataset. Basically, it's a child dataset. So I'm going to write ZFS create /tank, tank / Nextcloud / Mr. P, and then bring the same command, and then just going to change Mr. P to admin. So right now, if I'm going to do ZFS list, I have my pool, I have my dataset, and I have two child datasets. One is for admin, one is for Mr. P. So right now, let's say you have your Nextcloud and you have 10, 20 users using your Nextcloud. It's much easier for you going to be just to run a ZFS list and see how much of this is being used by each of the users. So my ZFS is sorted. I have a datasets. Next thing, let's go and start creating the Nextcloud instance. I'm going to click on the create CT. And now I'm going to actually change that to 101. 100 will be left for Cloudflare. Let's say I'm going to change that to 101. I'm going to call this Nextcloud-YT. I need to run this privilege. And the reason why, I'm going to use a mount point pass-through to the container. And it's much easier to do mount point pass-through when the container is privileged. Yes, you can do within privileged container, but there is a bunch of commands you need to run and make sure that permissions are sorted. It's doable, but it's headache for me. So I'm just going to go easy way. Just going to say container is privileged, and it's going to be much easier for me to sort everything out. So location node 101 Nextcloud YT. I'm going to untick unprivileged. So that means container will be privileged. Password set under templates. I'm going to select Nextcloud. Under disks, 8 gigabytes, it will not be enough. Well, at the start it will be, but basically the files will be stored inside your ZFS pool, but the cache files will be stored, within the container. So if 8 gigs is not enough, I would jump straight away to 32 just to see how it goes. If it's not enough, you can increase that. Even you can go for 12, and then you can increase when the time comes when a container gonna start complaining that you don't have enough memory. I'm going to actually leave that at 12. Under CPU, 2 cores will be probably the best. 1 core is fine. Memory 512 is again how many users going to use. If it's going to be only you, let's say your friend, your brother, or let's say, I don't know, a couple of your friends, I would say increase that to 2 gigs, maybe 1 gig. Let's use it 1 gig if obviously your Proxmox allows, and obviously do swap the same amount. Under network, I'm going to choose DHCP because I want the DHCP to assign IP address. DNS, I can leave everything as it is. Under confirm, I'm not going to tick this because we need to do a couple of more things to this container before we start. And now I'm going to click finish. So let's wait for Proxmox to get this container created. And let's wait. Here we go. Container is getting created. Let's check the log files here at the bottom. So CT, container 101 is getting created. Actually, while this is creating, let's create the Cloudflare right now. Let's click on this. I'm going to say, hold on, because the other one is getting created. This one is still thinking. Okay, so Proxmox 101, I'm going to call this Cloudflare-YT. Now I'm going to just put the password. This container can be unprivileged. Under templates, let's click on this. Let's wait for because the container is getting created. This one is getting a bit slow down. So right now I'm going to choose Debian 11 standard. Under disks, 8 gigs are plenty for this to run. You can even probably run this on 4 gigabytes. I'm just going to leave 8 because I have enough space. 1 core for this is definitely more than enough. Memory 512 more than enough. A network, obviously I need to do DHCP, and for DNS I will change that to be a Cloudflare DNS just to speed up just a tiny bit all the performance. So Cloudflare Tunnel container will use Cloudflare DNS, so it's just a bit like just over the edge for the speed of performance. And confirmation, I'm going to click finish. So right now this container is getting created. So let's wait for this container to get created, and when both containers are created, actually here you go, this is already done, so there is no need for cut here. Let's jump straight away into setting up a Nextcloud. So with the Nextcloud, let's start with the Cloudflare first because we need to have our domain. To set up the Cloudflare, we're going to start this container. So I've chosen the Cloudflare YT container. And here we go, it's running. So root and a password is the password I entered during a container setup process. So there's a couple of things I need to do straight away here. Is apt update to update all the repos, apt upgrade to upgrade all the packages, double ampersand, and apt install curl and sudo. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm daisy chaining the commands using double ampersand. That double ampersand means that this command needs to run only if this command is successfully finished. So you're going from the right to left. This command will only run if this command finished, but this command only run that this command is finished. So it's just gonna go 1. When it's all done, it's all happy, goes to 2, and once this is happy, it goes to 3. So I'm just gonna press, oh yeah, and dash Y, excuse me, dash Y to install. I can see install is being misspelled here. So I'm just gonna do like this. So apt update, apt upgrade, and apt install curl and sudo, and press enter. So right now daisy chain command is gonna go and get all this set up in one go. So I'll be back when this is done. And here we are, we have the Cloudflare container updated, upgraded, and curl and sudo installed. So just double check, for example, curl. If I write curl, I'm gonna get the message. If I'm gonna write sudo, I'll get the sudo help command. So that means the sudo and curl has been installed. So now let's start setting up the Cloudflare. To set up Cloudflare, I need to log into Cloudflare dashboard, and I'm gonna use one of my domains, which is gonna be mrpcloud.uk. I have that one free, parked for these kind of demos. So just gonna right now, once you log in and you are inside the home page, click on a zero trust. By the way, I have the video created about Cloudflare setup. I'm gonna sort of speed run through this now, but if you want to watch the video but a bit more in depth, I will leave a link to that video in the description below, that I'm go over through all the settings of the Cloudflare and how to like properly set everything up. This time I'm just gonna do sort of like a bit of a speed run, like I said. So once I'm inside the zero trust overview page, I'm gonna click on the access and click on the tunnels. In your case, if you're setting up this as a fresh instance, you will see no tunnels at all. In my case, I have 2 because I have 2 services running that needs to have a separate domains. So right now, let's say you have nothing here. So you're gonna click on a create tunnel and give it tunnel a name. I'm gonna call it sandbox in this video. I'm gonna say save tunnel. So tunnel is getting saved. And now it's asking me which environment I want to choose, or I will choose to install Cloudflare Tunnel. Windows, Mac, Debian, Red Hat, etc, etc. So I'm going to say it's going to be Debian and it's going to be 64-bit. And here we go. This is automatically shows up, and you don't, for me, don't even need to set everything up because I'm using a Linux laptop and it sort of detects what kind of thing I want to use. But you just pick the Debian if you're following this video and 64. And copy all this line. So it's gonna curl this one. That's why we needed to do curl. And then it's gonna run sudo dpkg command. And I had to install sudo inside Debian. If you're using Ubuntu and container, you don't need to do sudo. It's already pre-installed. But in Debian, I had to install it. So I'm just gonna make sure that this command is copied. I'll go back inside the Cloudflare container, left click and paste. Press to the right just to make sure the text is getting deselected. And I'm gonna press enter. So right now all this is happening, and while this is happening, I can go back inside the zero trust page and then the connectors. Right now the Cloudflare continue basically on a cycle, tries to find the installed container, and here we go. It just happened. Connector ID, I have a status, I have the data centers. I'm not sure where this is located, my public IP address and a version. So it's 2023-5, and I'm gonna click next. Subdomain, right now I need to enter something here to make this work. So a suggestion I would be just to select the domain that you want to use. So my case is, like I said, it's going to be mrpcloud.uk. I'm going to say HTTP, and I'm just going to enter the local IP address. Just something needs to be entered here, otherwise you won't be able to fully save this container or sort of Cloudflare Tunnel. So just enter local IP address or localhost and press yep. So that's it. It's been saved, and right now it's going to appear in the list of all my containers. And here we go. It shows up here. So I have a sandbox and it says healthy, and this is the domain I'm using, and it's been created literally like it shows today. Let's go back to Proxmox, and inside here I can see everything has been installed successful. Everything is happy. Next, let's go back to Nextcloud, and this is being created. So before I run a Nextcloud, I need to click on options, features, and make sure nesting is enabled. If I will not enable nesting during the initial Nextcloud setup process, I will start getting errors about SQL, MySQL database installation process. Nesting basically allows the container, imagine the container inside the Proxmox is like a service. So this is a service inside the Proxmox, but the Nextcloud and database will be a service inside this container. So it's like service inside the service. So nesting is required to be enabled, otherwise the service within this service will not work. I hope that makes sense. So make sure the nesting is enabled. And click OK. So I have nesting enabled, and privileged containers no, that means it's privileged. Now I can go here on a console and press start. And right now container will start and start doing all automatic setup process created by turnkey team. Once all this done, I will be presented to login prompt. Default username will be root, and your default password or password will be the same, the one that you created or entered using create CT process. Now it's asking you to enter the adminer password for MySQL. I'm just going to enter something that meets all the criteria, which is 8 characters or more, and it's going to need to be one uppercase, one lowercase, etc., or one of the following of these. So I'm just going to say, okay, this is my password, and that's it. Now it's asking you for Nextcloud admin account. As you can see, it says 8 characters or more, but actually it needs to be 10 characters or more. It just, this number is incorrect. It needs to be 10. For example, if I enter the same password that I did for my MySQL, which is 8 characters or more, I'll get the error saying it needs to be at least 10 characters. So right now I'm just going to enter the 10 characters password. And now it's asking me enter your domain for Nextcloud. Well, the domain, let's go back to a tunnel. I'll select my sandbox tunnel. I'm going to click on 3 dots and click configure, public host, and click add public host name. And I'm going to call this Nextcloud. Domain will be mrpcloud.uk. Type HTTPS. Nextcloud wants you to run over HTTPS, so make sure that's happening. And now I need to enter IP address, but I don't know IP address because it's not being given yet. So what I'm going to do here instead, I'm just going to leave this as a www.example.com and press apply. Skip, and install the security patches. So let's wait for this to install, because we need to get IP address. So let's give a second for this to finish. The patch installation process will not take that quite long. It's just, I would say 10-15 seconds. So I'll leave this running. I'll be back when this is done. Once security package is installed, you will be presented with the config screen, and this is the IP address. It's one ending with 81. This is the one I need to use. Obviously it's asking you, it allows you to use ordinary HTTP, but I suggest to go by HTTPS because Nextcloud will try to default to HTTPS anyway. So I'm gonna left click and copy this URL and paste in and try to access that. I'm gonna say yes, and right now Nextcloud will complain that I'm using untrusted domain because the trusted domain is www.domain.com. This is the one I had to enter, but by the time I wasn't aware what kind of IP address this instance received at the time I was doing this. But now I know it's 81, so I can go back to Cloudflare and enter the IP address, which is 192.168.178.81. And because I chose HTTPS, I need to expand this option and TLS and make sure this is enabled, which it says no TLS verification. Otherwise, you won't be able to access Nextcloud because it's gonna try to verify the security TLS, and it's just gonna go and start moaning at you. So I'm gonna leave this not saved yet because I need to go back to my instant, and I'm gonna click on here advanced, then select quit, and make sure select is selected, and then do you really want to quit? Yes. So now I'm inside the Nextcloud-YT container template. I need to edit the file, which is located inside var, so nano space / var / www/nextcloud/config.php and press enter. And you can see it's a trusted domains. We have two, which is one localhost and the second one is example.com. I'm just gonna delete all that, which is example.com, and I will enter nextcloud.mrpcloud.uk. Control O to save, enter to write, Control X to close. And now I can go into a Cloudflare, and now I can go and press save hostname. So this is getting saved. Now I can click on this Nextcloud Mr. P Cloud and click on the link. And here we go. I can log in as admin now. Admin. Enter the password, the 10 characters or more password that you had to enter during the initial Nextcloud setup process. I'm just gonna quickly this, and that's it. I am inside a run. It's basically first the dashboard, like a first login dashboard. I'm just gonna quickly do what I like to do here. I'm just deselect this, just leave weather here. Now I click on the files, and I'll be presented with the files that automatically gets generated on the first Nextcloud run. I'm just gonna quickly zoom in just a bit easier for you to see. So this is just a bunch of templates and stuff that Nextcloud creates for every single new user. So I am the admin. I need to create the user Mr. P because I want to have, like, I will show you how to have two separate users on here. So I'm going to click on the admin and click on the users. New user, username will be Mr. P, display name Mr. P. The password is the same criteria, 10 characters or more, uppercase, etc., etc. So I'm just going to use the same password. mrp@domain.com is asking for an email address. I can just put like this. Add a user to group. It's going to be users. Yep. And then it says default quota. I'm going to say unlimited. And that's it. I'm going to click add the user. User has been added. So I have admin and a user Mr. P showing up here. So right now, if I'll go back inside my files, this is all the files I have here. I need to delete them before I link my ZFS dataset in here. Otherwise, the Nextcloud will start complaining that inside the cache, it still has these files, but it's not located in ZFS, blah, blah, blah. So it just suggests to just delete them. They're just the standard files anyway. So the tick at the top selects all of them. I'm just going to click action and say delete. And that's deleted. And if I go inside right now, the Cloudflare, not the Nextcloud, sorry, Nextcloud container. If I go to location, which is var www/nextcloud-data, and if I list the content, as you can see, there is a folder admin and a folder Mr. P. If I navigate to Mr. P folder and list the content on that, it says 0 because that means that this user haven't logged in yet. So Nextcloud, there is no pre-configured files yet set up. So I'm just gonna log out from admin and log in as Mr. P. So Mr. P is logging in for the very first time into this Nextcloud instant. Let's wait for that to happen. On the first login, it takes a bit more time because it's generating all these files. So let's wait for this to happen. Actually, while this is happening, oh no, that's it. Okay, welcome screen, recommended files. I'm just gonna click on the files. And here we go. These been created. If I right now list the content, as you can see right now, it had 0, now it has 8, and this is the files being created. I'm just gonna make sure that this is all deleted. Here we go. That's it. Nothing left here for Mr. P to use. So right now I'm gonna log out from this one, and that's it. Leave this on the login screen. It's no need, but I just like to do it this way. So right now there is two things we need to make sure that we take a note before we go further, because we don't want to mess up. First thing is admin and Mr. P. Each of these containers, or each of these folders that represents the user admin and user Mr. P. Inside each of them, there is a folder called files. So this is the location. If I go into files and write pwd, which is prints the working directory, this is a location where the files for Mr. P are stored. And if I'll go like this and say admin and then files and print, so this is the Mr. P location where the files lives, and this is admin user admin location, or user admin stores the files in. I hope that makes sense. So I need to link this to ZFS list to this, and the admin needs to be linked to here. And this is where we're going to start setting up the mount point. And this is basically why we need to have Nextcloud container as a privileged. Otherwise, it's just going to fall over. So once again, just make sure you take a note of this. And obviously admin can be replaced with the with Mr. P or whatever username. And now once I know exactly where I need to be pointed, the container, Nextcloud container, needs to be shut down, because you can't change, well, you can change while the container is running, but Proxmox will auto update the config file as soon as it detects that it's actually not right and the container is still running. So Nextcloud container is off. That's fine. Let's wait for icon to change. Now I'll go back inside my Proxmox node under shell. I need to navigate and navigate to a folder which contains all the container config files and amend the right one. And that is inside etc pve lxc and then ID number of the container you want to amend. So 101 represents my Nextcloud. And right now, just below the memory, I'm just going to make a space here just to write the stuff in. Don't worry about the big gap. Proxmox will sort the spaces and it will condensate all the data after you save it. So next, let's start with the admin folder. So let's begin. mp 0:/ the name of the pool, name of the dataset, Nextcloud, and name of the folder if you created a folder, or just carry on with another dataset, and that's it. So it's a tank Nextcloud admin, comma. This basically means which location needs to be mount pointed to. So this is the source, and destination will be mp / var www nextcloud-data admin files. So this is all the command I need to enter, all the one line. That means that whatever is in here needs to be moved there. Okay, next one, mp1. You need to start from 0 because 0 is the starting point inside the programming and Linux and etc. And 1 represents another space. And you again tank Nextcloud Mr. P, comma. You can't do like this and leave a space just to make sure that it's gonna look nicer. Make sure you just write all this without the spaces, and then the Proxmox will add the space. Actually, will add the space here, but just write all this without spaces, and leave the Proxmox to figure out what's what. Anyway, if you enter something wrong, Proxmox will complain at you at the first second or so as soon as you try to run the container, because Proxmox will scan this file in the blink of an eye and just gonna say something is wrong. So right now, www nextcloud data Mr. P files, and I'm just gonna delete all this empty space, and that's it. Ctrl O to write, enter to confirm, Ctrl X to close, and now the container is ready to start. I'm just gonna right click and say start. I can open the log page. I don't even need to open the log page. If something wrong with my config file, I won't be able to see this. I will get error straight away within like half a second as soon as you press run. So let's log in, root and the password. And right now, if I write df space -h, it's showing me that this location is mount pointed with 32 gigabytes of storage to this location, and this location mount pointed with 32 gigabytes to this location. If you're not aware, ZFS shares the same storage with everyone. So admin and Mr. P not magically just receive 32 gigabytes each. They basically have a bucket that is 32 gigabytes, and Mr. P can use a third of it and admin will use all of it, or they're gonna use half and half. It's not like magically each of them receive 32 gigs. It's just a pot, a bucket, a big box which is 32 gigabytes in size, and they're sharing the storage. So now if I'm gonna go and log in, I can refresh this. Cloudflare should be able to pick it up that is already on live. So admin, let's log in. And okay, I entered the password incorrectly. And I'll show you the error if you just gonna say, because I know there's gonna be an error. So I'm inside this. I'm gonna say create the folder. Let's say subscribe, and error. I cannot create a subscribe folder because once you mount pointed the ZFS into the container, it still uses the original permissions, which is root and root. To double check, you can navigate inside the var www nextcloud-data, and now if I'm gonna list all the content, as you can see, all these belongs to a user by the name of www-data and the group www-data. To double check, if you write, or not to double check, but to check the ID number of the user, if you put ID and then space username, this all is 33, 33, 33, and then it's 112 just for regis. So 33 is the user ID and 33 is the group ID. If I'll navigate inside the username folder admin and check the owner of the files, it's actually root and root. It's not 3333, and that's why I cannot write the files. To change the permission, so let's do this again. So files, as you can see, it belongs to root. I need to write chown, so chown space. I like to write -r to do recursive. I know the folder is empty, but just this is a habit. Just -r, it means the folder and everything inside that folder. It's any files or any subfolders, million subfolders down, all of them will be recursively changed ownership. Now you can enter like this and then do it like this, or if you know ID number, just do like this, 33:33, and name of the folder. In my case, it's going to be files. Press enter. And now list the content. As you can see, this one right now belongs to www-data. Back in the Nextcloud, I'm going to just refresh and we'll try again. Subscribe, please. And folder being created. If I'll go back inside my Proxmox and I'll navigate inside my ZFS, which this is the one. I need to go inside this data set. So cd tank Nextcloud admin. I have the folder created, subscribe please, and the owner belongs to www-data. So it's right now fine. If I'll create a file here, for example, any file using a root, touch test, for example, I get the root and root, and once the Nextcloud automatically rescans a folder, this user that I'm right now logged in here, I won't be able to delete this file because it belongs to root and root. So just to make sure it's not messy here, I'm just going to remove this file, not to get confused. So subscribe please. It belongs to Nextcloud, and that's it. So next thing what we need to do, obviously do the same thing with the Mr. P, because his files folder, it belongs to root and root. So chown-r 33 and then do files, and that's it. And right now if I do ls space -l, it belongs to the first to Mr. P. So Mr. P can obviously go and start creating files with no problems at all. I will delete subscribe please. And next thing what I want to show you, if I click on A basically is admin, and Mr. P will have M here. I'm going to click on administration settings, scroll down all the way to the left hand side and click on the systems or system. As you can see, Nextcloud detected that we're actually using ZFS and not some weird and wonderful folder somewhere located inside the Proxmox. So in this case, as you can see, admin, the mount point, this is where it is, file system ZFS, size 30 gigabytes plus 30.5, can't even speak, use 1%. So right now it's basically, it's detected that it's using the right thing and is all singing and dancing, and your Nextcloud is running perfectly. And we linked Nextcloud to Cloudflare Tunnel. That means I can use nextcloud.mrpcloud.uk to access my Nextcloud instance. But if you want to restrict all that things, let's say restrict only to a specific IP address, or only to a specific country, or only with a specific email address, two-step verification can access your Nextcloud. All the shenanigans I demonstrated inside the video about Cloudflare and the Proxmox. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below. But that's it. I hope you enjoyed this lengthy video. Is almost 40 minutes of me recording this. Probably I'm going to cut a couple of bits out of this video, and the end is going to be much shorter than 40 minutes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, how to set up a Nextcloud, how to link ZFS datasets into the Nextcloud, and how to link Nextcloud to Cloudflare to access your own personal cloud storage from anywhere in the world. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe.